particular company to build a particular road. Well, it's built, but then within a year, you can't find it anymore. So what's the problem there?
It's really not, I'm not going to defend a bad job here, but I'm going to say that if you go through this project, the first thing you do is the design stage. When you do a design of the road, of course, before it is actualized, the government will look through it and say it is okay for them. That is in one part. The other part is the government designing it for you to do. Before these designs are done, expectedly, the road in question must have been taken into consideration. I take you on this. The soil differs from one place to the other. Everybody has been talking about greenhouse gas. Everybody has been talking about a lot of rain coming down. The effect of this on the soil is that the water table is high. Of course, there's a possibility of ingress under your road. It is now time for us to look towards that and say, what are the admixtures that we can put on this, our subbase, to forestall the rise of the water through your asphalt? You understand? Of course, we have to do that. I agree with you. One of the reasons why the roads are failing is because the water table is high now. We have ingress, and it is, once it erodes or weakens what is under, the road will go down. Then another one is when it is not properly constructed. What do I mean by this? If you have to construct road, you must first of all understand where you are working. That is the soil in question. After that, you look at your subbase and you look at the thickness of the asphalt vis-a-vis the load that is coming on it to determine what you do. If all these are not taken into consideration, yes, you will have problem. But in the recent time, if you look at, if you put the road being constructed by Lagos State, where I operate mostly, into an index of 100, you agree with me that 80 to 90% of those roads are doing very well. But again, we are not going to take one thing out. I'll give you an example. Look at the Ikorodu Road. The traffic lane of the Ikorodu Road was resurfaced in about 2 or 3 years ago by Lagos State government. It was milled, new asphalt was laid. For how long will this be before another one comes on it? That is the question for government to answer. How long are you going to allow this road to be before you come in and do maintenance? What maintenance? Let us mill some part of it and add more. That's what happened elsewhere.
So perhaps part of the problem will be maintenance. We don't have that maintenance culture.
We don't have, and we're not making good effort on that. That's the most unfortunate thing about it. We don't have. Even in the household, if you go to the household, the maintenance culture of an average Nigerian is poor. And this is being transferred to the businesses we do, or the business of governance. If this can be improved upon, of course, a lot of roads will be better. I'm not going to speak about finance for them. It's an issue. It is an issue, but I'm not going to speak about that.
Okay. Well, I believe you have a professional body, you have an association. So what is your association doing towards curbing some of these menace in terms of collapsed building, roads that are not properly constructed and all that? What's the role of the association in this, in ensuring that if you say you're a professional person, an engineer, building a house, building road, that you get it right?
You see, the NSC, the Korean, they're doing a lot in this regard. They've tried so much to make the whole of the Nigeria realize that we have too many of cracks on the field. We all know now. And they have equally told us that a lot of these buildings are coming down because the materials are substandard. The question is...
Where do they get it from?
Fantastic.
From our markets?
From our markets. Yes, a lot of those things are produced here. And that's the question. The question is, where is the SON in the production of reinforcement? Iron rods. Where is the position of SON? Very simple. Go on the street, pick samples, go to material testing lab here, not far away, get them tested. You will see that a lot of this thing fails. So where is the SON? Of course, NSC and Koren is not going to do the job of SON. That's one. Two, if you look at the pharmacy, the drugs, and NAFDAC and Pharmaceutical Association of Nigeria, when it was the time for government to reduce or stop the amount of people being killed by adulterated drugs, NAFDAC was strengthened. That is, there came a regulatory body. It was strengthened. The right person was put there. We all felt the woman. Drugs used to be hawked everywhere. It was a business for an average brother from the East. Patent store, dotted everywhere. But when the woman came, she said, no, you can't handle drugs in this manner. These are the avenues where all this thing gets into the market. So she did a lot in that respect, and of course the efficacy of drug has improved. If you want to have the same thing in engineering, that's where government needs to play its role. We need a very strong regulatory body that will work with Koren, that will work with NSC. Of course, member of this association will be the one working on the regulatory body because they know what to watch out for. You're not going to set it up and go and bring an accountant, for an instance, to head it. It's still going to be the same story.
Okay, aside from what is expected from a body like SON, who actually regulates your body, your sector, to ensure that whoever that is building this house is doing the right thing? Not necessarily the material itself, or who regulates it to make sure that, oh, this house is built the way it should be, or this road is properly done.
Okay. Our profession is regulated by Koren. That is Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. That is, their job is to ensure that you don't have an half-baked engineer on the field. But of course, there is limit to which they can go. Have you looked at the enabling law? You're talking about law of enforcement now. If I have to come to your site and say that, yes, what you have done in here is not right, I must be backed by law, and I must be backed by the political will to get that energy. Otherwise, I'll come there, somebody will make a phone call, and I'll be thrown out of that site. So, you see, it still comes to a situation where you have to, how much is government doing for Koren? How much? The Koren survives on what it can get from a member. And if you look at Lagos State, for an instance, so big, so wide. Look at the size of Koren, so small. How far can they go on this monitoring and regulation? They have, the organization has to be supported in a great deal. Okay. Enabling law, a structure, finances, in order to be more active than what is doing now.
Okay, let's look at your manpower. Now, statistics shows that you have at least 1 million workers in that sector. Is that correct? And if it is so, is that enough?
When you talk about manpower, manpower, yes, on the pages of paper. A construction company will hire